Good afternoon! Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. A Wrestling Wednesday. Oh, yeah, brother. Oh, yeah. And the sun's shining again.
It is.
Sun is shining today.
And my legs are out.
Yeah. Yep. Shorts weather. Rust, you wearing shorts today? Are you wearing pants today?
I'm wearing pants today.
Are you wearing anything?
Well,
Covering?
Wouldn't you
That
like
was
to
the
know?
question. Are you wearing? It was. I know it was confusing.
let's face it, most
Shorts
of the
or
time I
pants?
am in here by myself.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, I know.
Yes, I'm wearing pants today.
Okay.
Jeans.
Jeans. Okay. All right. You never too late to make them jorts. Okay. That's the beauty
They
of
weren't
the
jorts.
It's the beauty of the jort.
They were faded blue cotton Dockers.
Okay, bud.
Slow progression into a Cowboys fan.
Ooh, yeah.
I
I
think
take
he's
more
a
offense-
Jags fan.
I take more offense to the
he's-
Cowboys fan
I
than the
think he is
jorts.
just so
Tight-
Jacksonville now.
The tighter jorts instead of the baggy jorts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the leg hugger jorts.
That's right.
I take more offense to
Yeah.
being called a Cowboys fan than to calling them jorts.
Wow. Tell me how you really feel
We'll
with
get you
that
that in a pair of-
mustache.
pair
That
of
mustache
Jordans.
over there, you shouldn't be taking shots at anybody, bud.
Wow.
I mean, you are if somebody said that guy's a Cowboys fan, I'd be like, yeah, all right. His shirt today is a playoff story for the Cowboys. His shirt, if you're not watching on
That's the truth.
youtube.com/1080am, the fan says, I'm not even supposed to be here today. That's how Dak Prescott plays in the playoffs.
I think actually yesterday was the anniversary of that movie, so I missed it by a day, but
Oh, really?
yeah. Old Clerks there. I think it was the 30th anniversary.
God, that's terrifying.
Whoa.
Yeah, 94, right?
Is this controversial? I like Mallrats more than Clerks.
No,
I don't think that's
I like
controversial.
okay, good. Because everybody like
Clerks set the
reveres
tone.
Clerks.
Yeah, it was
but
genre defined.
We don't hear much about Mallrats, which obviously Jay and Silent Bob's still in it.
Mhm.
You know, it is that Mallrats is hilarious. Now,
Clerks walked so Mallrats could run.
Yes. Also,
I
Clerks
have not-
2 better than Clerks 1.
oh,
Well, I think I've only seen that one like once.
It's
I don't even
again
know.
Clerks genre defining,
Mhm.
no doubt about it. But I think the sequel was a better movie.
I think I've only seen Clerks 2 once.
Interesting.
Clerks 2 once.
There you go.
Mallrats.
A billion times.
Now, I bet if I were to go back and watch that, I'd be like, whoa, I can't make this movie anymore.
Oh God, no! There's a 0% chance.
Yeah.
Probably most of Jason Lee's character would have to get written out.
the pretzels, the
Stink palm.
Oh my goodness!
So fantastic.
The stink palm.
Just watching him lick those fingers.
Who had you in a bigger chokehold? Shannon Doherty or Joey Lauren Adams?
Joey
Joey
Lauren
Lauren
Adams.
Yeah, okay. We're all on the same page.
Okay. Well, obviously, when Silent Bob goes into the dressing room, for that reason and that reason only, there.
Yeah,
Duh.
right?
Duh. Okay. Well, nice Clerk shirt, pal.
Thanks.
Jags fan. Well, you missed it. We did a segment last week,
That sounded like an accusation.
Jagging with Jeff.
Oh wow.
Yeah, uh-huh. We talked Jags.
All right. I like
when
it.
you were out with Jeff, or it was Jagging with Jeff, because obviously he's our resident Jacksonville Jaguars fan.
Meow.
So we jagged with Jeff for a little bit, and it was fun. It was fun.
Good time.
Jagging
Great
off.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a controversial morning in my neighborhood because I am now learning that maybe I'm the problem. I took my kids to school, and on the way to school, I caught a whiff, and I was like, huh, what is that? And I was like, nah, couldn't be. So on my way home, I rolled the windows down a little bit. I'm like, by golly, somebody's making spaghetti and meatballs at 7:25 a.m.
Hey, you got to get that gravy going and let it go all day.
It was 7:25 a.m.
Crock-pot and
and for
meatballs?
a full block. And look, I'm just saying spaghetti and meatballs, just getting it out there. That was the overall scent.
Uh-huh.
It could have been Big Ziti. Could have been somebody's making lasagna.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some sort of a red pasta dish.
It was Italian and it smelled
lot
delicious.
of oregano and basil in the air.
But it was
Strong
also
garlic.
a situation where I was going, this is too early to have this. It was an overwhelming scent, you know? And at 7:25, I just wasn't ready for it. And I'm now finding, in every, if you have an Italian grandmother, a Gigi, if you will, a Nonna, a Nana, like they will start the sauce early, and you got to get the sauce going early and let it sit all day. 7:25 seems like it's an early start.
That's a good long simmer.
Yeah. And so I'm finding maybe I'm in the wrong here for thinking that's too early to get the scents going in the neighborhood. Hand up, I also will be the same guy who's, smoking meat early in the morning.
Yeah.
You got to, if you have a big piece of meat, you've got to get that thing smoking on the smoker early in the morning. But it was just a little odd, and that is a refreshing smell in the morning when I smell, somebody's smoker, whether you got the pellets or the chips going.
There's nothing like it.
It's a great smell in the morning. It's like, it's backyard season.
Who doesn't love a good meat smell in the morning?
But Italian was a little bit overwhelming for me.
That just sounds like you're a coward.
Yeah. See, I'm finding I might be in the wrong on this.
I'm aware that I'm a monster. Like I have monster tendencies, certainly.
Yeah.
I'm okay with just about any kind of like food smell in the morning outside of seafood.
I think that's fair enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
Are you a guy that will eat like
anything in the morning?
You'll eat anything in the morning. I can't do that.
That's the thing is like
I can't do that. It's
Chinese.
Not right. Really?
Oh God, yeah.
That would be like the bottom. Actually, no, that's not the
no,
bottom.
sometimes
leftover cold Chinese.
yeah.
If I'm going
super good in the morning.
like dinner items I would eat in the morning. Pizza's obviously number one.
Oh yeah, I mean
like, you can go a little cold pizza there. Chinese would probably be number 2. Chinese is probably number 2.
Super good.
Yeah, but I'm not a
Mexican. I've had leftover fajitas for breakfast.
What?
Oh yeah.
You are a monster.
Oh yeah, warm up the skillet real quick. Warm them up. Toss a tortilla in there.
No.
Oh,
what?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like a breakfast burrito's the furthest I'm going.
I mean, it's not how far removed are we?
Quite a bit. Eggs.
Not really.
I mean, eggs are a big part of that.
I've done that before where I've taken leftover steak and gone, I'll make a breakfast burrito with a leftover steak and eggs.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. There's something about the eggs though that really just changed the whole
I'll hold the eggs too.
Yeah, no.
Okay, here's
that's
one
a monster.
Here's one that I won't do.
Okay.
Okay, so I batch cook chicken regularly, like the big old thing of either chicken thighs, chicken breasts in the barbecue or air fryer, whatever. And I had somebody ask me the other day, he's like, have you ever taken like your leftover chicken that you cook for the week and been like, I'm gonna have chicken and eggs for breakfast? And I go, no, I will not. I will not do chicken with eggs. I don't know. It's not like something like that I object to for like any kind of moral reason, but it just feels weird like when you're eating the question chicken or the egg.
Yeah, I mean, you're going when you're going I am eating mother and child at the same time.
It's a little like maybe there is like a moral quandary there like in my stomach of like I don't know what to do with this. Why are we eating different stages of life here?
Huh.
Have you ever eaten chicken with eggs?
Yeah,
I
have.
Chicken breast or like thighs?
Well, no, it's been like a
chicken sausage. I think is okay.
I'm going. It's like the Chick-fil-A breakfast sandwich, where you can just get chicken and a biscuit. You can also add egg to that, and it's still very delicious.
I've never done that.
Yeah. Chick-fil-A's got good breakfast.
They do have good breakfast, but I've never done like the chicken with the egg.
Yeah, it's
sausage, bacon, all of the above, totally fine.
Yeah. But when you say chicken, like having a chicken breast and being like, yeah, I'll throw some eggs in with this. No, I've never. And I've never thought of it as the way you put it, eating, or as I put it, mother and child.
Yeah, mine was just eating the question, which came first, the chicken or the egg, and the answer is yes.
Yeah, no. I've never that's never been on the top of the list, and it shouldn't be that far off,
right? Like, but it's just not it's not a path I've walked.
I'll be damned. All right. This text, Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. Mallrats is a silly, stupid teeny bopper flick that's okay. Clerks is an educated humor that's not for everyone. Oh, wow. That's
Okay,
an easy
film
way.
student.
That's an easy way of saying the smarter you are, the more likely you are to like Clerks over Mallrats. And by the way, several misspellings in that in that text.
I am so smart. SMRT.
Like that's one where you better make sure you are grammatically correct, your spelling is in check. You when you're going down the road of, oh, this one is way smarter, you better make sure that you have yourself dialed in there.
On that line, you know what I tried to watch last night and was not available on any service?
What's that?
Idiocracy. I tried to find it. I went through Paramount, Netflix, Max, Amazon. Amazon was the only one that had it, and you had to pay for it.
I
was like, come on, man.
It was on. I think it may have been on Netflix and was removed a few months ago.
Oh,
I watched it not too long ago.
It's been popping up in my feed on across social media just randomly over the last month.
But it's because all the streaming services, people are catching on.
Yes.
we can't let them see this.
Yeah. And
our plan is working to perfection.
And I was like, I need to go watch that again just to see how far off we really are.
We're not that far. It's actually pretty alarming.
I mean, I'm advancing it, which is funny because, the shoes that were selected for that movie were a struggling company at the time, Crocs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not
so.
The
evolution of that is, of course, we talked about yesterday, Baseball Bro, socks and Crocs.
This person's saying it's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. You know what? That's the one thing I didn't check.
Well, Damian Lillard said Hulu has live sports, and apparently Idiocracy is as well. So we got that going for ourselves.
Also, pork chops and mountain oysters. That sounds like maybe the worst combination I've ever heard.
No, I'm not a big pork chop guy.
I'm not either, but when done correctly, a little jalapeno peach jelly,
or like a good little breaded pork cutlet.
Yeah. What was the youngest? So it was Greg, Peter, and the Brady kids.
Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby.
Pork chops and applesauce.
Pork chops and applesauce. Him and Alice. Pork chops and apple. Nope.
Yeah, I always thought that was a weird combo.
Yeah. My mom, she made pork chops and applesauce. Not the biggest fan. You got to cook a pork chop correctly, though. It is you can miss and you whiff dramatically if you overcook a pork chop.
Oh, we'll do sometimes for the easy dinners. Throw them in the slow cooker with some cream and mushroom.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That sounds actually
real
pretty
tender.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We have to fool the kids, though. We call it chicken steak or they won't eat it.
Boy, isn't that a thing where it's just like, no, it's steak. Yeah. Like, this and they start catching on you like, shut up.
Yeah.
It's still steak. Eat it.
Lie to your kids.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called parenting. Duh.
Yeah, I can't think of a worse combination than that. Pork chops and mountain oysters?
No.
Again, seafood. Seafood in the morning, nope.
Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, so the mountain, that's not seafood.
No, you're talking Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah, that's
there.
Yeah.
That's the old bull testes.
Yes, there you go.
Yep.
Sheep balls.
Is it sheep?
I believe it's sheep.
Yeah.
Sure, sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? What is it? Funny Farm? Chevy Chase? How many does he sets the new record? Never seen somebody take quite a hankering to sheep balls. You gotta get up real tight alongside there and snip them up off the top. What? Yeah.
All right. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? Okay.
Nice pivot.
Sports.
Sheep balls.
What the hit king and a guy who averaged 3 points and 2 rebounds in the NBA have in common. Next on The Fan. Smoking meat early in the morning. A big piece of meat. No, Dudley Boy's kicking off Wrestling Wednesday. Well, Pete Rose has little company with him. Banned from baseball for life for betting on the game. Jontay Porter has now joined Pete Rose.
Congratulations for being the biggest dumbass in sports.
Yep.
Like ever.
I mean, when you actually dive into what Jontay Porter did,
Let's do it.
and then the audacity to think that you are going to get away with it, I can't wrap my head around the level of dumb. So you walk this thing back. For those that don't know who Jontay Porter is, yes, he is the brother of Michael Porter Jr.
This might be my favorite part, is that the very last line in every single article about this is, he is the brother of Nuggets forward Michael Porter Jr. It's like,
has been no stranger to doing his own stupid things.
we're all just looking around like, I'm sure people called him, right? And we placed those phone calls there.
All right, so here is the statement, or at least a couple lines from this statement from the NBA on Jontay Porter being banned from the NBA. Faux life. A league investigation found that Porter violated league rules by disclosing confidential information to sports bettors and limiting his own participation in one or more games for betting purposes and betting on NBA games. So, to wit, he gave tips, which is told endlessly across the board. Ask any player that has ever played in the NBA. No tips, no tips, no tips, no tips, no tips.
Yeah.
Endlessly.
Yeah.
Endlessly. Okay, so he gave tips. That's number one.
Not just the tips.
Number two, he limited his own. He limited his own participation. And in that, which they're talking about, is a game on March 20th in which he left with an eye injury. Which kept his unders down.
And he, by the way, he averaged 3.8 points per game.
Two-way contract.
And 2.7 rebounds per game in his career. So he was taking the under on like 1 point.
Well, it was combined. It was combined points, rebounds, assists, made threes or something like that.
What was it, like 3?
I think it was like 6.
Oh God.
And then
Don't want to get too hot tonight. Got the action on my unders.
so he's giving tips, which that'll get you suspended. Then he's got tanking his own, which is going to get you banned on its own.
Yes.
And then he also bet on NBA games, which is also going to get you banned. So this guy had a trifecta of absolute stupidity.
Yeah.
In a way that, okay, this is how insane it gets. He went in on March 20th. He gave tips to a bettor about his performance. And in that game, he only played 3 minutes, claiming that he felt ill. Due to the unusual betting activity and actions of the player, an $80,000 prop bet was frozen and not paid out. That $80,000 prop bet was going to pay out $1.1 million. This is as bad or worse than the Cincinnati / Alabama baseball betting scandal, where the guy went up the window, literally saying, "I've got a good feeling, I've got good insight on this." Like,
I'm texting the coach. Look.
Yeah. This is the same level of like absolutely asinine stupidity.
Should be known, he was not the person that placed that $80,000 bet, but somebody in on his scheme was. Does not make it any better because he was colluding with somebody who was an absolute moron. And we all know this. By March 20th, we already knew the Alabama betting thing that you just talked about, right? Where Alabama was, if you don't know, Alabama was playing LSU. A guy at Great American Ballpark Sportsbook in Cincinnati went up to the sportsbook and placed a very large bet on LSU to cover against Bama. Because, and he was bragging to the people at the sportsbook, I've got information. I've got information. I'm texting the coach right now. It's like, oh, buddy. And so they froze that. Alabama's baseball coach got fired. Anybody that gambles has seen that story.
Yeah.
And especially if you're as deep into gambling as Jontay Porter was at this point, you know that this story. So you know a big bet on a player or a game that will not be getting a lot of action, it raises a ton of red flags.
Yes. On top of this, so that's the one they know for certain that he influenced the outcome of, okay? While playing with the Raptors G League team, the Raptors 905, Porter placed at least 13 bets on NBA games using the Associates online betting account, and they ranged from $15 to $22,000. None of the bets involved any game in which Porter played. 3 of the bets were multi-game parlays that included a Raptors game in which Porter bet that the Raptors would lose.
Oh, no.
You bet on your own team to lose.
That's brutal, dude.
Do not pass go. Do not collect your winnings. Go straight to hell.
Yikes.
Like, this is the kind of thing where it's not only gross, like, it crosses the holy crap level of, are you kidding me?
And that's the thing, even with Pete Rose.
He bet on his team to win.
Pete Rose said, I never bet on my team to lose. His bookie
said he never,
he would always bet for his team to win if he was betting on
there's a level of, like, I don't want to say honor, but there's something there that you're like, all right.
Yeah, and although he wasn't on the team with the Raptors while he was betting for them to lose,
he's still,
those are your guys.
But he is on the team.
Yeah, he's on the
he's on the
right
organization.
there.
Yes,
and it's akin to the Blazers and the remix, right?
Yes, this would
be
going
up and down with it.
Or Duop Reith before his contract was converted, betting against the Blazers, which would have made you money, but
wow,
it's at the insanity of this. Let me pause at this. What's more insane, that he did it or that he thought he'd get away with it? Because I think they're both absolutely ludicrous.
I think that he thought he would get away with it with some of the amounts that were being bet. Yeah.
$80,000 parlay on Jontay Porter?
Yeah. That's asinine. But I think one thing that, like, where my mind goes in when I hear stories like this, and like when I heard the Ipe Mizuhara, Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, right? Everybody's like, how in the world, did he think that he was going to get away with this? Why would you? And I go back to, we've all been associated with somebody, or most of us have been associated with somebody who has an addiction issue.
Sure.
And whether it's substance abuse, gambling, sex, whatever it is, when you have an addiction, you don't think rationally. And you're not thinking like a normal person would, or that you normally would at any other point, right? Because you have an addiction issue. And Jontay Porter, if you're making the irrational decisions like he is making in these instances, he obviously has an addiction issue with gambling,
or he's just
he's
the biggest dummy.
Dumb.
Yeah.
But when you look at the volume, the amount of bets, like Ipe Mizuhara, pretty clear to see 19,000 bets.
Yeah, that's an addiction.
You have an addiction issue, and you don't know how to stop it.
Jontay Porter leans more towards violently dumb,
and that, look, both things could be true here, but the resolution is we have our first professional athlete in modern times
lifetime
getting banned for life for gambling. And this is leaps and bounds above what Calvin Ridley did when he was in Atlanta with the Falcons. I mean, this goes so far beyond that because he was betting as an injured player, not on his team, on other teams that he was not in communication with. And they were very small wagers. Like, this is big time money, trying to game the system, trying to become wealthy. I mean, if we're being quite honest here with the amount of bets that are taking place, and you're thinking if somebody's going to put an $80,000 bet on your unders props and paying out $1.1 million, you're getting a cut of that, right? You're getting probably a pretty big cut of that.
Yeah.
And so
thing is, he comes from a family that is eternally wealthy.
Yes, his brother is Michael Porter
Yes.
Jr.
And even before that,
his dad has always been a
Very
high
well
level
off.
basketball coach. Whether he was like an AAU coach, then a college basketball coach at for a very short time UW, then Missouri. You know, he is a guy that their family was not one that was strapped for cash, but the level of dumb here is gonna. In the NBA is sending a message.
Also, on that point, gun to their head, I think the NBA is glad it happened.
Yeah,
because it happened with Jonte Porter and not,
Kevin Durant.
Yeah, exactly. Or Ant Edwards.
Yeah,
a young superstar. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what's going to happen next.
Sure.
There's going to be a young superstar in sports that is raised in this culture, and they're just going to do it. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
And I do think there is also an element that these sorts of things have been happening behind the scenes, and it hasn't been caught because of how highly regulated sports gambling is.
Yes.
That's the other thing here is that he got caught
because there's more eyes on it
because of the
open.
legalization of gambling.
Yes.
You know, and to think of, we've heard the stories of Michael Jordan's, betting.
Millions.
No way he it was always no way he could have possibly bet on basketball. He was always betting on golf or whatever, blackjack, just
anything
at the tables in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw in The Last Dance, it was that quarter game, right?
Yeah.
With the guy who gave the shrug and became famous. That from like who's to say, like, Jordan would never bet against himself. We know that, right? Yeah. And there's never been anything that has been concrete. That there's always the Michael Jordan had to play baseball because he was betting on the NBA, and that he got a 2-year, see ya by the NBA. That has never been proven.
But there's some pretty strong anecdotes out there for sure.
You look at and they even said in The Last Dance, right, where it was like Jordan's dad was murdered because there was that nasty rumor his dad was murdered because of Jordan's gambling bets.
Yeah.
I mean, none of that has been proven outright, right? But when things were not on, federally regulated or state by state regulated, and it's been easy to catch guys like Jonte Porter or Calvin Ridley or how many was it? 3 or 4 Detroit Lions players that placed bets inside the facility, which is against the rules. They didn't bet on the NFL. They were betting on college, but it was within the facility of the Lions. You can't do it. The geofencing, they got them to, no, we know you were sitting in the facility when those bets were placed, right? Like, it's a lot easier to catch these guys now.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to catch them now. And that's going to be the cautionary tale moving forward is you're not going to be smarter than the people that are looking out for this. Because if you're going to be giving the inside information, big bets are going to be placed and people are going to catch on.
And they hire people that are smarter than you on purpose.
Yeah.
So that they always win and they can track this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Jonte Porter, everybody. Well, he's a name that will live in infamy.
Yep.
He made his name. Do you think
first guy banned by the NBA?
Now, do you think he gets a shot to go play overseas? Like,
I tell you what, Shanghai loves their gambling.
Are they gonna be afraid of it? Is it gonna scare off?
I think Macau might like it. Might spice some things up a little bit.
You never know. All right, Jonte Porter banned for life from the NBA for betting on basketball and against his own team and himself. The play-in games gave us some drama and a couple of big answers. That after Rust with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
If you've been arrested for DUI, you need a team of attorneys that you can put your trust into. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today, online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. First on The Fan. Tonight, it's the East turn for the NBA play-in games. First up, 4 o'clock on ESPN, the Heat at the Pacers. Heat at the 76ers, Philadelphia, 5.5-point favorites. Winner gets the 7 seed and will face the Knicks in the first round. Loser faces the winner of the Hawks at the Bulls for the 8 seed and the right to face the Celtics. Chicago, 3.5-point favorites in that game. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 6. Tip at 6:30 and can also be seen on ESPN. Pelicans announced forward Zion Williamson is out for Friday's elimination game against the Kings with a left hamstring injury and will be reevaluated in 2 weeks. Over on the diamond, the Mariners looking for a sweep of the Reds this afternoon at T-Mobile Park. Andrew Abbott on the bump for Cincinnati, opposite Bryce Miller for Seattle. 1:10 first pitch on Root Sports. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Your favorite fan shows are on YouTube. Mash the subscribe button and like us for live streaming video and 1080 The Fan on demand.
All right. Heard in the Rusty update there that we do get the Eastern Conference play-ins tonight, starting with that Heat 76ers matchup where Danny will be rooting for the Heat to lose.
Incredibly so.
Yeah. And then on Saturday, also rooting for the Heat to lose.
Can they just make it super easy for us to root against them and wear that stupid Heat culture uniform?
Yes.
Heat culture. So dumb.
Heat fans and vegans, they'll both tell you about it.
And CrossFitters.
True.
Marathon runners.
No, their car will tell you.
Their car. They'll
Their
have a
cars.
26.2 on the back.
Yeah, their car will tell you.
Mac users.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, don't take a shot, Mr. Green Bubble over there in your texts.
I didn't say anything about iPhones. I'm talking about
ruining
Macs.
the group chat.
I'm talking about computers on their own.
Yeah, look, I got a buddy who refuses to let anybody into a group chat that'll turn the conversation green. And Apple knows what they're doing.
That's
when
why
they
they're being
turn it,
sued.
That's a bigot right there.
That color of green is it's such
It's
a
harsh.
terrible
It's
color
harsh.
of green. Yeah, it's not fun to look at.
No, that's the whole point.
But okay, we get it.
They're being sued over it.
Oh, what are they suing for?
What are they? What is it? Like corporate bullying was what it started off with over in Europe because they have stricter laws on this.
Yeah.
And then once that case got going forward, it was something along. God, I can't remember the actual statute they put it under, But yeah, they're being sued for a litany of reasons, including the green text.
I am all for the idea that the universal plugs. I think that's a good idea. Like, we should all be able just to plug into anything.
Yes.
We shouldn't have to have like 8 different types of chargers.
Yeah.
Just give me one. Just let me charge my device.
It's an antitrust case. That's what it was.
Because of the green bubble?
Well, it's also Apple, the messages or the encryption that they use. Like, if you've ever gotten a picture from a non-Apple user on an Apple phone and it looks like crap?
Videos are the worst.
Yes.
They're like little tiny little
Well, it's the same
videos.
coming back this direction, too. What if my wife ever sends me a video? Yeah, it's god-awful.
Those are all
At
things.
least your wife's smart.
They're the way they push it through is purposeful.
I hate you guys so much.
Yeah, it downgrades it. So
yeah. Now that is, I don't like that. But we should have the option at the very least to normalize those people and turn them blue. You know, if I want to see Jeff Russ text them blue, I should have that option.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't disagree.
Because I'm sick and tired of looking at your damn green bubbles when I get your texts. Playing game happened. We learned some things in the play-ins last night.
Indeed, we did.
We will get to what we learned about the Golden State Warriors coming up a little bit later, but boy, I sure learned a lot last night about one Zion Williamson, because watching him play last night, it was incredible.
He was the best player on the floor, and it was not particularly close.
But I learned I will never trust him to be a superstar in the NBA. Hell, a star in the NBA. Because what happened last night? Zion goes 36 minutes, 40 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, a block, and then pulls his hamstring.
Made LeBron and AD look silly.
And that
all game long.
You asked about the biggest what if being Blake Griffin. Zion,
he's up there.
He's
up there.
He's going to be a bigger what if than Blake Griffin, because Blake Griffin gave us
6
All-Star games.
Of
he gave us All NBA. Yeah. He gave us jumping over IKEA, which
dumb, but great job to get the money.
He won. Yeah. I bet there's not a chance in hell Blake Griffin has driven a Kia.
I bet you he has.
You think he's an Optimo guy?
I bet you he has.
Yeah. I love my Kia Niro. We got a Kia.
You do.
Not because of Blake Griffin, of course. He could jump over it, though. It's a very small vehicle. But Zion is going to be the bigger what if, because you see these flashes like this, but they are so fleeting.
More tremendous, even than Blake Griffin. That's the terrifying thing. But you had the Pelicans last night after the injury. In the post-game press conference, Willie Green said Zion has leg soreness that will require imaging. I've never had soreness that required imaging. And ladies and gentlemen, I bet you I've had more imaging done than Zion.
Yeah. This is not...
Turns out today it was a hamstring, which we all knew.
And that's like, we all knew it when we saw him. His immediate reaction was...
I thought it was a quad at first.
This isn't it.
Because he grabbed like the top of his leg. When he reacted, I was like, that's kind of a weird thing to do. Because usually when you do the hammy, you do like this is going to be weird. You do like the arched back, like kind of like reach back at the hammy, like, ugh. But he kind of rolled forward and grabbed his quad. And I was like, that's interesting.
He is too big, too strong, too explosive.
His body, he's literally too strong for his body.
And that is sad. It truly is. But you cannot, and no Pelicans fan should move forward thinking that you can trust Zion Williamson to be there for you over the course of a season.
Because and it's unfortunate.
It is. It sucks. And
because you can't trust Brandon Ingram or CJ McCollum to be there for you at any time.
That's exactly where I was going to go next, is that this team, CJ, we know that CJ can have his moments where he can...
Game 7 against the Denver Nuggets.
He can put a team on his back and he can play really well.
He
also has more of the games that we saw last night, 1 for 9 from 3, right? This is coming off. Remember, CJ made 9 3-pointers in a game last week. Last week, he made 9 3-pointers in a game. He and Brandon Ingram were absolute no-shows, and the Lakers ended up cruising, and they'll get their teeth kicked in by the Denver Nuggets.
Indeed.
I mean, them's the breaks, them's the rules. We're just watching this happen. Because I didn't see anything from the Lakers that sat there and said, no, that's a team that is going to be competitive in the Western Conference playoffs, especially in that opening series against the Denver Nuggets. Because as bad as Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum were, that game was a 4-point game.
Yeah.
That was a
Jose
4-point
Alvarado was
game.
out there balling out too.
And they have their fatal flaws. And Anthony Davis, he played. I have my questions about his toughness, especially after the Larry Nance play where he called it a dangerous
Back injury.
play. His back was hurt, but I don't know. Dude, you've got to be a dog to win in the playoffs. We know this. The guys who are the toughest and the mentally toughest, those are the ones that carry teams. And as great as LeBron James still is at this point in his career, he's not a guy that can do it by himself anymore.
No.
He isn't. He needs Anthony Davis to be a dog like he was when they won the bubble title, when no fans were in the arena.
They're going to get absolutely buzzsawed by the Nuggets, and we're going to hear for a couple days, well, then the Lakers have one more chance here, and rah, rah, rah. And it's going to, love God. No, they don't. They don't have a chance against the Nuggets. Unless Nikola Jokic's arm falls off, they don't have a chance against the Nuggets.
I bet Jokic would still be good with one hand.
He'd probably figure something out.
Yeah, I think he'd be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could do it.
Yeah.
If there's one guy who could do it, his game translates to one arm. Yeah.
Just throw that lazy hook shot up all the time.
Just dominate. He only needs that one big mitt and just kind of.
I can see it.
Boop, I
can see it.
And do you call the push off if he's got just like
a shoulder stub?
Yeah. I mean, he's just creating a little separation there. I mean, I think he could still be dominant.
He'd actually chicken wing you?
Yeah, I think he'd be dominant still.
I like it.
But the Lakers, they get the play-in win in New Orleans. They are going to be the 7th seed. They play the Denver Nuggets. And then we get on Friday a matchup between the Sacramento Kings and the New Orleans Pelicans for the final spot in the Western Conference and a chance to go play the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think that could be a really good game. Well, no, not without Zion.
No Zion. Yeah.
No Zion. But if CJ has one of his games.
Either way, they're lambs to the slaughter when it comes to OKC.
But exactly. Sacramento, you mentioned this yesterday.
I was surprised they won, but when we'll talk about that game, but Keegan went nuts.
They blew the doors out the Golden State Warriors.
Even close.
That 4-point lead at halftime,
Woof.
I was just sitting there going, this ain't the Warriors team that's going to come back and win this basketball game. They looked in control throughout the entirety of that game. So I'm excited for Friday and what that game has to offer. We get 2 more playing games tonight, though, as Miami and Philly, they get underway at 4:30. And then after that, you have the Hawks visiting the Chicago Bulls, which is a game that nobody wants to see.
4 o'clock.
Indeed.
4 o'clock is...
Which, to me, also, though, that late game seems odd to me, a 8:30 local tip in Chicago.
Well, TV windows.
I didn't understand why they did both the West on one night and both the East on the next.
Yeah, I mean, it's so nobody has an inherent advantage, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you give that 8-9 matchup short rest, or the 9-10 matchup short rest, and the 7-8 gets an extra day.
Right.
Maybe you could do it that way.
Yeah.
Did they do that the first year?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but they just want to make sure people aren't bitching and complaining about rest.
Yeah. So there you go.
Or you break up the 2 second halves of the play-in part and have the game for the 8th seed maybe stand alone and not necessarily have to be a doubleheader. So you could have one Thursday night, one Friday night.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, I'm in. Jeff Russ for commissioner of the NBA.
Indeed.
Move over, Adam Silver.
That's right. Get out the way.
We've got a mustache and jorts that need to take over that New York City office of yours. Hell yeah. And every press conference ends with brother.
Brother.
What you gonna do, brother?
Speaking of a guy who says brother a lot, did you see how much Mario Cristobal got paid? Oh, this is juicy. We'll get to that next. Danny Dusty on the Fan. I'll tell you what, this song, it really fits this story because Mario Cristobal, it is now reported by multiple outlets because University of Miami, their books are open, private university, but so they don't openly put out coach pay like other places, but people that really want to do the digging on it. In 2022, Mario Cristobal's compensation, according to the University of Miami, was $22.7 million.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's beefy.
Yeah. There are layers to this, though.
Yes.
And the way that you kind of peel the onion back, like on the surface, you're sitting there like, good luck with that. And also, I can see why you left. But it's $7.7 million in base pay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And because the way that University of Miami, a private university, does their books, $14.9 million is in, quote, other compensation.
Yes.
Okay. That other compensation, according to tax people that are breaking all this down and do like the sports business stuff, they do include things like his $9 million buyout from the University of Oregon is other compensation earmarked under Mario Cristobal.
Yes.
But it's going to the University of Oregon for his buyout.
Yeah. Basically because he didn't have to pay it.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. He gets that money that he can pay U of O and say, good luck with Dan Lanning. And Ducks go, thank you for the $9 million and Dan Lanning as our head coach. This is great.
Yes.
This is awesome. We love it.
Yeah.
We got offense. That's fun to watch.
Yeah. Won by losing.
We got defense. It's great. And thank you for, stuck in the cupboard on your way out.
Yes.
It was a very nice thing that Mario Cristobal did.
Addition by subtraction.
It was a great thing that Mario Cristobal. Well, I mean, look, let's not act like Ducks didn't win a Rose Bowl with him.
No, I know.
Like they're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. But $9 million in the buyout in that other compensation. I'm still wondering, like, all right, then, what's that other $5.5 million that is earmarked under Mario Cristobal? And where's that money coming from here? Because what they're saying is that is the second highest single pay of a university employee, only to former University of Pennsylvania president Amy Gutmann in 2021, who was paid $22.8 million.
Wow.
Yeah, or I guess it would be the highest, right? Because it's 22.9. Or, nope, 22.7. It's $100,000 shorter than Amy Gutmann.
Mm-hmm.
And what she had was what they called, it was the Ohtani contract. She had deferred payments of her salary down the line. They kicked the can down the road and then paid her $22.8 million in 1 year. It's a wild amount just to be earmarked, but let's be honest. Mario Cristobal wasn't paid $22.7 million.
No.
Okay.
And some of that in there probably too could be like, housing stipend, country club memberships, that kind of thing.
Moving costs,
yes.
all those sorts of things
and
that kind of go into it.
I think I also saw in there too that it was some of that reportable compensation is that they pay extra to reach the point to where they actually bring home the amount that they've agreed upon, right? So like they lump an extra amount in there to cover the taxes and such.
Oh, all right. Well, that's nice.
Right?
Wonder if they're going to do that for us.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
No.
Wish in one hand.
Well, but that's a big number. That's a big number. Caught a lot of people off guard. $22.7 million for Mario Cristobal. Hot damn.
Good work if you can find it.
Yeah. And now, look, this is going to be an interesting year. There are four coaches that they need to win, and they must win this year in college football. Mario Cristobal is one of them.
Yes.
Because their offense has got to improve.
He has a 12-13 overall record at Miami.
Is that good?
You have no. Not for $22.7 million.
I went 7-6 last year, losing in the Pinstripe Bowl to Rutgers.
That's a little less than $2 million a win.
So Cristobal is one.
Ugh.
Ryan Day at Ohio State is another.
Yeah, I felt like he was on that hot seat last year.
He's got to be one that you've got to win, and you got to do it right now.
Got to beat Michigan.
Lincoln Riley at USC is you better win games and be convincing this year.
Again, I think the number there is 8.
8 wins.
Yeah, I think it's 8 to just because they did the reshuffle. That saves him. 8 saves him.
Yikes.
But I think 9 is the expectation.
Yeah, I think at USC you should 10. I think 10 is where you're at keeping.
Yeah, no, that's
happy.
where it should be at. But I'm saying that I think 8 he doesn't get canned.
And the 4th one is Deion Sanders at Colorado. Deion, he cannot go 4-8. He has 11 scholarship players in the transfer portal right now.
How many wins does he need in the Big 12? 6?
No.
5?
No, because look, his whole thing is I don't recruit high school kids. I don't leave campus. I don't do this. I don't do that. The number 1 recruit that he landed is now in the portal.
Here you go.
The guys that he's saying we're bringing Louis, they're leaving in droves. And it's not like he's restocking with exorbitant amounts of talent. And he took a massive step from where Colorado was
to where they are
in 2022 to where they were in 2023. It was completely different. They were actually semi-competitive in most of their games.
Which before that they were non-competitive.
But you also saw that in games against good teams, they coached circles around them.
Yes, and the depth just completely disappeared.
And the depth was gone. And now Deion is going back to the portal, restocking the portal, but now the guys that you were bringing in are also leaving. And because
so you're not building, you're just replacing.
It's not what they thought it was going to be when they got there. And so this is going to be, and I hope, I've said this several times, I hope Deion succeeds at Colorado.
Yeah.
I hope he does.
I think it's good for college football.
And somebody breaking the norms and just doing it his own way, I think it's really an interesting case study to follow. But you better turn those into wins this year. Those are my 4 guys. They got to win this year. Or could be some high-profile jobs opening up next year. And especially Ohio State, when you have that team should be the favorite to win the national title.
Gross.
They should. They are loaded to the gills and they got a phenomenal coaching staff now that they're paying like
$1 bajillion,
$4 million to their coordinators. All right. Hour number 2, where we start. Death to light years. Next on The Fan. Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Wednesday afternoon, a Wrestling Wednesday. Death to Light Years. Did we see the final for Clay, Dre, and Steph in the Golden State Warriors?
They might play together, but they're not going to be good.
Oh, okay.
They're just going to be a very average team going forward. You saw the Clay's, he's not cooked, but he was last night, and he's going to have those games that pop up from now and then. He went 0 for 10, 0 for 6 from 3. Steph had 6 turnovers. He shot 8 of 16, 3 of 7 for 3, totally fine, 22 points, 4 rebounds, couple assists. Sloppy with the ball, which is not anything new. The ghost of Andrew Wiggins, obviously not out there, 12 points, 4 of 11. Draymond Green, typical Draymond Green night, a little light, 12, 6, and 3. You just didn't get anything else because they're old, they're long, and they're broken, and they're in this position because Draymond Green was an idiot.
Draymond Green was an idiot?
Well, I mean, being in the play-in. Being suspended for 21 games put them in this position that put them in the play-in, where it was win or go home. And then you throw in the fact that Andrew Wiggins has been a ghost of whatever that was in the 2022 finals, where he was maybe the second best player on the court. And ever since then, he's been awful. And there's no other way. Like, if you're talking about negative value contract guys in the NBA right now, he's got to be one of the highest.
Well, they got a couple of them there. I mean, for what you're paying, and like this is the whole thing with like, is this the last that we've seen of the trio of the Golden State Warriors? I mean, Steve Kerr acknowledged the elephant in the room.
Yeah, it's too early for me to even think about that. You invest so much in the season, and there's so much that goes on. It's so emotional. It's the highs and lows of this business are incredible. That's why we're all kind of addicted to it. You can't find this anywhere else in life. I know I can't. And you have to absorb the lows. We've been really blessed here with amazing players and multiple championships and finals appearances and the highest of highs. And this is the flip side. This is life. This is how it works. You don't get to stay on top forever. So what happens this summer and going into next year, we'll worry about that later. Right now, I'm just thinking about our guys and how committed they were this year, the connection they had, the effort they put in to put us in a position to at least have a chance. And we clearly weren't good enough, but not for a lack of effort or commitment from our guys. They were great all year. It's incredible when I think about, you think about how difficult and physical this game was. And these guys have had, our core group, 6 finals runs where, you have 24 of these games, in one playoff run. And that's what I was thinking about down the stretch of that game as it was clear we were losing, that, Sacramento dominated, but our guys have been fighting for so long. They're incredible competitors and warriors, and I couldn't be prouder of them. But, we've got an off season where we've got a lot to think about for sure.
It sure feels like they all know what is coming down the pipeline for him. Well, and it's no secret to anybody. No. The problem is Klay Thompson, at the number he was playing at this year, in the production that he had, it didn't make sense. If Klay Thompson comes back to the Golden State Warriors, right, at what? Just above the MLE, right? Mid-level exception.
Yeah, that's probably what he'll come in at.
And he returns to the Warriors. That's palatable for his production this year. It's not like Klay Thompson was a bum all season long. It was his production was not commensurate with the amount he was paid.
No, he was making $43 million this year. And then Chris Paul was making $31 million.
And look, Chris Paul said after the game he's not retiring, but
he's got to come back on basically a vet min.
Is it sustainable for him? Yeah. You have so much of the salary cap, and with Steph Curry still having the ability to play, I'm not completely done on the Warriors because people will want to go and play with them.
I am. The top end's gone. And even if you bring these guys, it could be cool to see these guys, all Steph, Clay, Dre, stay with one team. When was the last time we saw this? It's probably the Larry Bird Celtics.
Well, and this is how all great runs end, though. Is you have
Hakeem
that attachment,
and the Toronto and stuff like that.
And then, you have these attachments to players, and then you have so much success, and then all of a sudden they get old.
Mm-hmm.
They're not as productive as they were, and you have a steep fall off in what they have the ability to be aggressive this year. Mm-hmm. Not with the draft, because the Blazers got another lottery pick, baby.
Hey-o.
Now, here's what we need from the Blazers. Blazers better hope that the Warriors win the lottery this year.
I'm fourth. You want to move to fourth.
Yeah, sure. If they get into that top 4, though, then the Blazers get their first-round pick next year, right?
Yes, so...
Yeah, let's go!
The pick that the Blazers are getting from the Warriors right now is top 4 protected, meaning... The Warriors, they're probably going to finish either 13th or 14th, depending on how things shake out and who loses in the rest of the plan. They could go anywhere from 12 to 14 in the lottery odds. They'll have about a 3.5% chance of landing a top 4 pick. And if they land top 4, the Blazers will not get that pick this year. The Warriors will retain it. And then the Blazers would get the Warriors 2025 pick, and it would be top 1 protected, otherwise known as the Cooper flag protection. So they could go, if it did move into the top 4, you have an opportunity to have maybe one more bite at the apple in 2025, which I think you could argue would maybe be better for Portland, considering this draft class. And also the fact that there's a pretty strong possibility that the Warriors are going to fall off. The Warriors are paying $350 million for this roster. That includes the actual salaries and then the luxury tax. They're going to pay a luxury tax of roughly $169 million when it's all said and done.
Ooh.
But you look at what they have again. Clay's contract is coming off the books. Chris Paul's contract is coming off the books. That's $73 million. But they don't get magic space to go use that. Losing those 2 contracts doesn't do them any good. It does not get them any salary cap space. So they can't just go out and sign a free agent, but they would have the bird rights for both guys so that they could go over the cap to bring them back. But Joe Lacob, owner of the Warriors, has said that they're going to get under the tax. So do the math. That means those guys aren't winning that. And then you've got to deal with Andrew Wiggins is $25 million. He averaged. Do you know what Andrew Wiggins ended up averaging this year?
No.
Take a wild guess.
14-5.
13, 4, and 2 on 45% from the field. That is 93rd in scoring, 94th in rebounding, and 98th in field goal percentage.
All right.
Making $25 million a year. And not to mention, he just wasn't around this year.
Yeah, he was, for long stretches, he was gone. Because this is kind of the veil of secrecy around what's going on. They're saying just personal reasons, family matters.
Family stuff, yeah.
And, nobody really knows, and the fan base is getting a little uneasy and unruly by it. By the way, Warriors have 1% chance to get into the top 4 this year, so you're saying there's a chance.
Well, and with the combined odds, it ends up being about 3%, I believe.
No, that was for 4. That was for the 4th spot.
Oh, just the 4th in
just
okay.
The 4th spot
so
is a 1% chance.
Okay, so top 4 in total is 3.5%, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense because they have like a 0.8% chance of landing number 1.
Yeah, and that's number 2. 0.7 for number 1, 0.8 for number 2, 0.9 for number 3, and then 1% at that number 4 pick. All right.
Look at that.
Right. All right.
So, but yeah, I'm entirely out on the Warriors going forward. There'll be a perfectly fine, okay team, and that'll be it. And then we'll find out, oh, wow, maybe they aren't smarter than everybody else, and they fell face first into greatness.
Boy, that really drives you nuts, doesn't it? Doesn't it?
Because everybody talks about how it's like, oh, it's smarter front offices. I'm just like, smarter front offices? What are you talking about? This is the same front office that drafted James Wiseman.
Yeah, I think they're going with And look, there's a lot of luck
There's
in the
a
draft.
tremendous amount of luck.
But they also took flyers on guys that people said that may be a reach, Steph. That may be a reach, Clay. And they rode with those guys. And evaluating and finding Draymond Green in the second round, it paid off for them. And they hit in just bam, bam, bam. And it all happened so quickly. Yeah. And all three of those guys became centerpieces to NBA titles runs like that.
And then Kevin Durant falling in your lap because of a cap spike in 2016.
Well, yeah, but guess what? Everybody had the cap spike in 2016.
Yes, but they didn't all have the cap spike that coincided with an underpaid Steph Curry because he was so good that you paid him less. Right?
Yeah, you got him on a deal.
Oh, right, because you're just so smart, or no, he just hadn't profiled.
If it was the Blazers, would you feel differently?
Yes.
Okay.
But no, I wouldn't, because like I've talked about this, like when you get lucky with things, and I've called out when they've gotten lucky, like a simple one. Again, it's not as obviously nearly as impactful or big, but remember when Anthony Simons signed his deal, I was like, oh, that's an overpay, and I was like, look around right now.
Yeah,
it's a good deal.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Like you get good deals on guys. And that's what happens. You want to get that if you're an organization. You don't want that for the player, obviously, but like anytime you get good deals on guys, it's 99.9% of the time it's luck.
But we remember that part of his being on that smoking hot deal was because nobody trusted his ankles.
His ankles were made of glass, and even then, and he'd been good, not great. Even when they made the decision between Steph and Monta. Remember the revolt.
Yeah, but what line do you draw to talent development? Because he grew as a player exponentially, and they did a really good job of finding pieces that worked around Steph, because we've seen shooters that can shoot the lights out, but the team isn't able to build around them properly. And I thought Golden State did a very good job of that.
Oh, for sure, but also the idea of like...
why are you making me defend the Warriors?
I don't know, man. You're
being
weird about this.
I know. Well,
the thing about this...
I'm trying to be fair to him.
I always thought this was really funny. With like people like, well, we're going to try to be like the Warriors and play small ball. It was never about small ball.
No, it wasn't.
We have two of the greatest shooters of all time, and then the third, when Kevin Durant came in, maybe the best scorer of all time. There's no replicating.
And we forget how good Klay Thompson was defensively.
Yeah, he was
until he ruptured his Achilles.
He was a very good defensive player. Yeah. Draymond Green is the best defensive player in this generation, and it worked. Like if you throw Draymond Green in his prime on any team in the NBA, it probably works 50% of the time.
Yeah, it's so. I mean,
because of like. Yes, his defense is still going to be as impactful, but his offensive ability isn't going to be nearly as impactful because you don't have a star that plays off the ball.
Yeah, and I think of the same thing with Steph too. He has his shooting erases a lot, and it's probably more than 50%. But Steph Curry is not who he is unless the pieces around him are
having Klay being another guy that draws eyes, having Draymond being the hub of the middle, and having just two lunatics that just run off the ball,
Yeah.
alleviating all of the pressure defensively. All of the pressure defensively.
I know we're up against it here, but did you guys hear about the AI story created from Klay's game last night and the repeated use of the word bricks on Twitter?
No.
In a bizarre turn, this is the AI story from Grok. In a bizarre turn of events, NBA star Klay Thompson has been accused of vandalizing multiple houses with bricks in Sacramento. Authorities are investigating the claims after several individuals reported their houses being damaged with windows shattered by bricks. Klay Thompson has not yet issued a statement regarding the accusations. The incidents have left the community shaken, but no injuries were reported. The motive behind the alleged vandalism remains unclear.
Wow.
You're welcome for me being here today.
We just got Klay Thompson's statement on the matter.
To come full circle on this, it sucks that Klay might have gone out like that.
Yeah,
that sucks. Because did you see him after the game?
Oh, when
he standing on the court looking around,
he was walking out.
Yeah.
Gary Payton II in street clothes gives him like hey, keep your head up, pal, and runs right past him. And then Klay stops, turns back around, and just kind of took it all in again.
That's to be that self-aware in the moment's pretty impressive too.
Yeah,
because
I love Klay.
It might be it.
I love Klay. And to the texters asking what we don't like about Draymond Green,
Yes.
he's a jackass.
All of
Like,
it.
That's what.
Also,
he's
as far as like, I don't hate Draymond. I think Draymond's. I literally just got saying he's the best defensive player of a generation.
yeah,
He just does very dumb things.
You said self-awareness from Clay.
Yeah.
There
Dre's
is
never had it.
He has all of the self-awareness, and Draymond has none of the
of it, yeah.
self-awareness. None whatsoever.
I don't hate
Zero
Draymond Green. I just think he's an
accountability.
idiot.
Zero accountability. And just saying, I can do no wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. Clearly, we can see you doing that.
I didn't stomp on his chest. Really?
I didn't choke him out. Yes, you did. What? We're looking
The fact
at it.
that we're not making any of these up, it's like,
Habitual nut kicker.
yeah,
Remember that?
yeah.
Like,
It's a natural leg movement.
what are we doing?
My leg's always done that. Maybe that's a problem. But yeah, end of a dynasty.
Yeah.
Pour one out. I don't
It was
care.
fun.
R.I.P.
They were fun though.
But it's not peace.
Light years, man. They're just light years ahead of everybody.
Go to hell.
Okay. sorry for defending them. I really am.
No, you're not.
I am.
Astros fan.
I am.
You love monsters.
I am sorry for having to take that position. I didn't feel like I should have. Hey, will we see history made in 8 days from today? Next on The Fan. NFL draft coming up a week from tomorrow. Our first round gets underway.
Oh.
Huh?
The first of 9,426 rounds?
No, only 7.
Good God.
Good God. I think there should be more rounds of the NFL draft.
That's terrifying.
It's a 53-man roster, and you have 7
You have
rounds.
85 going into the season?
I mean, come on. Major League Baseball has a 742-round draft.
I think they only have 20 now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They used to just make rounds up. They
Yeah,
just draft guys just for the hell of it.
They used to have unlimited rounds where it was just like if a team just still wanted to take a guy, they'd just be like, but most teams would be like, pass. That's how Mike Piazza became a Dodger. Mike Piazza became a Dodger as a favor to Tommy Lasorda.
Good God.
That one worked out okay.
Yeah. Seemed like a pretty good pick there. But he was one of those
62nd round draft pick. 62nd.
Yeah.
A Hall of Famer from the 62nd round.
As most come from.
Yeah.
You know, like
Suck
most
it, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, most of the time we see that happen. You know, just go ahead and do it.
He was a 62nd pick.
Because after the NFL draft wraps up, there's the free agent frenzy, and it is just guys just get calls left and right trying to, get that opportunity and get that shot. But we get the NFL draft. Round 1 will be next Thursday. And there's a pretty interesting storyline that's starting to percolate across the NFL, because the over-under on offensive draft picks in the first round has been set at 21.5 for offensive players. Of the 32 first-round selections, they believe 21.5 is the over-under for offensive players.
Which, just off the top of my head, that's not that feels low. Because this draft is not littered with defensive guys.
I believe that would be a record.
That would be a record, Bob. And only 11 defensive players is kind of what they're talking about. But what we may also see is, think of every mock draft that you have looked at, every, draft analysis that you've seen. How many defensive players are you seeing in the top 10?
Well, you don't have the top end pass rusher. That's like, oh my God, you have to take this guy. You don't have the all-world corner. There's some good corners in this draft, there's no doubt. You don't have, not that you see him in the first round too often, but you don't have the linebacker that can be on the field for every down.
When I think you also have a lot of questions about some of the high-end talent. I mean, Dallas Turner is probably going to be the number 1 defensive player off the board.
Sure.
But the other guys that are propped up as the high caliber, everything tells you yes, are guys like Laitu Latu from UCLA, where the University of Washington told him you can't play football anymore, and he had to go and find a doctor to clear him. Turned out pretty good.
Your neck is made of paper. We don't want to risk you dying. And then you got Cooper DeJean, who's one of the top corners in the draft, and he's coming off a knee getting shredded.
Well, Andy's a white corner.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, if we're being honest here, there is some white corner.
Well, and I think the last Mel Kiper mock draft I saw had him going number 25 to the Green Bay Packers, and what would be probably the most Packers-ish pick ever.
Boy, you're not lying.
A white corner in Green Bay. Whew.
But
that jersey's selling.
We usually see a defensive player in the top 10 selected. And if you take a look, on record, the lowest a defensive player has been selected is 8th overall. In 2021, we saw J.C. Horn get selected 8th overall by the Carolina Panthers.
The Ringer has Terrion Arnold as the first defensive player off the board to the Falcons at number 8.
Okay. When you think of the way this first round may shake out, you may see teams that are quarterback thirsty, right? That may trade up Minnesota. And could we see a team like Atlanta say, if we're going defense anyways, who's going to jump up ahead of us and go defense? We could bump down. We could see a defensive player in the top 10, probably 9th or 10th. We could see that record set. And to think of the importance that we put on getting to the quarterback, being a disruptor, being a lockdown corner in the NFL, how important those guys are. The fact that we will not see a top 5 defensive player selected. We may see a guy 8th, 9th, or 10th, which would be the lowest a defensive player's ever been drafted.
It also lets you know
that's why Nick Saban's quitting.
Where you can find some value.
And that's why the great teams are going to get better this year in the draft.
And this is, again,
those guys get pushed
selfishly, the Raiders should be trading down.
Should be trading down.
Yes. Is that you can find value because of the things that you need are aplenty.
Too many holes.
Yep.
Well, they've already got their quarterback and that little ass boy, Gardner Minshew.
Absolutely. I'm okay with it.
Little ass boy.
A little LAB, baby.
But if you look at it, the last 10 years, 2014, Jadeveon Clowney, that was a decade ago.
Good God.
Yep. He went number 1. Dante Fowler went number 3 in 2015. Joey Bosa, 3rd overall in 2016. Myles Garrett, number 1 in 2017. Denzel Ward, corner, went to the Browns in 2018. He's good. Yeah. Nick Bosa, number 2 overall in 2019. Chase Young, number 2 in 2020. J.C. Horn, number 8 overall in 2021. Trayvon Walker, number 1 overall in 2022, and Will Anderson, number 3 last year.
Will Anderson worked out. Where do we fall on Trayvon Walker? He's been good.
He's been good. He is
just
good.
Not great.
Plays in Jacksonville. Yeah. Jagging with Jeff. What do we got on Trayvon Walker? How do you feel about Trayvon Walker?
Good.
Was that a question or an answer to the question?
Good question mark?
Sorry, I'm over here trying to work on podcast stuff. Catching me off guard.
Well, I'm just asking you the very simple, jagging questions here. I mean, look, he is good. He's a good edge rusher in the NFL. He's a 10-sack guy in year 2 in the NFL. I'd say pretty good.
He's
pretty good.
Solid.
Pretty good.
Number 1 overall, but good.
Yeah.
Look, there's a lot of years where you might not have somebody worthy of a number 1 overall pick, but somebody has to go number 1.
Yeah, somebody does have to go. Anthony Bennett.
It's going to happen in the NBA draft this year.
Anthony Bennett.
Somebody's got to go.
That sucks.
Yeah,
but something to keep an eye on. We have a plethora of quarterbacks, wide receivers, offensive line. And those 3 positions are the premiums in the NFL right now. So what you're going to see, those runs going to be going early in this draft that is super deep at those positions, and they want those guys cheap at the beginning of their careers. We may not see a defender until 8, 9, or 10 in the first round.
Kind of weird.
Kind
of weird to think about.
Good golly, Miss Molly.
Now, speaking of weird and thinking about things, want to check in on Arian Foster? I think that's where we should go next. But first, it's a Big Kahuna with the Sports Center update.
You mind if I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down?
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air, serving Portland, Southwest Washington, and the Gorge. Online at aneheatingandcooling.com. It's hard to stop a train. First on The Fan tonight, it is the East turn for the NBA play-in games. First up, 4 o'clock on ESPN, the Heat at the 76ers. Philadelphia 5.5-point favorites. The winner gets the 7th seed and will face the Knicks in the first round. Loser faces the winner of Hawks at the Bulls for the 8th seed and the right to face the Celtics. Chicago, 3.5-point favorites in that game. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 6, tip at 6:30, and can also be seen on ESPN. The Pelicans announced forward Zion Williamson out for Friday's elimination game against the Kings with a left hamstring injury and will be reevaluated in 2 weeks. The NBA announcing today, Raptors forward Jonte Porter has been banned for life for violating the league's gambling policy. The statement says he provided confidential information to bettors, limited his participation in games for gambling purposes, and bet on NBA games. And over on the Diamond, the Mariners looking for a sweep of the Reds this afternoon at T-Mobile Park. They are currently headed to the bottom of the second. The Reds with a 1-0 lead over the M's, thanks to an Elly De La Cruz home run in the second inning. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan. Time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
Former NFL running back Arian Foster is, he's crazy. He's absolutely insane. Certifiable on a lot of things. But, people are allowed to have their opinions.
Yeah. Yep.
Even when they're terribly wrong.
Even when they're terribly wrong. And, he had one on a delectable, salty food that I think was a little bit surprising.
There's like a bag of pretzels in there. It's like, who be eating them?
The pretzel stick.
You don't
is
like
good.
pretzels?
You like pretzels?
Bro, pretzels
What?
are elite.
I like warm pretzels that you dip in like mustard or something like that. Like at a
Those
bar.
are outstanding as well.
But, like regular hard.
Yeah, you don't like pretzels?
They're horrible.
With
Oh,
What?
what
Salt?
that's.
Y'all
That's
niggas like
crazy.
pretzels?
Oh, I hope you get clowned for this.
Come at me. Pretzels. Them shit's horrible.
No,
pretzels,
that's crazy. That's crazy,
limps,
bro.
Pretzels are dog shit, bro.
They're a
alright.
classic
Yeah.
snack.
It's like you take a bite and your mouth gets exponentially drier, dog.
Well, I mean, have a bottle of water next to you, but
Just everything about it is horrible.
no,
No, I
this
disagree.
is
The
crazy.
whole
Wow.
experience is bad. I don't think I've ever met anybody that likes pretzels.
What?
Almost everyone you've met likes pretzels.
I don't understand how you could not.
Am I in a different dimension?
No, you're crazy.
Yeah,
You're
this
crazy.
Some like pretzels like that.
Yes.
And that's a rant from Arian Foster on the Macrodosing podcast on the Barstool Network. And
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Yeah.
Dusty currently holding his bag of Dots
Are-
pretzels, of which he has with him at all times.
Yes, I need to get another bag. This one's getting low. I have Dots pretzels with me. The YouTube Kings can all see. I have Dots pretzels with me at
the
all
time.
times.
Like, I can't remember a show where I haven't seen you during a break just reach over and grab a little handful of Dots pretzels from
I
your
love 'em.
backpack.
They're delicious.
It's always. I remember the first time I think I saw you do it. I didn't see the bag of pretzels. I
Yeah.
just saw you reach into your backpack and pull out pretzels, and I was
That's
like,
right.
"Is his backpack full of pretzels?"
Maybe.
That's like a
Maybe,
real
who knows?
fat guy thing. Like
Who
I,
knows?
I
Who
was like,
knows?
I'm doing the fat guy thing
Look.
entirely wrong.
It's like the tater tots in my cargo shorts.
They're cargo jorts.
Got ketchup in one side, taters in the other.
They
Ketchup pocket.
pretzels are delicious.
They are. They're very good.
Now-
I am very fond of the Dots honey mustard pretzels.
Yeah, they are good. I'm not a fan of Dots Southwest season pretzels.
Ooh, I haven't tried
Have you
those.
tried the cinnamon
Yeah,
and
they're
sugar
okay.
joints?
Come on, son. Yes, I
I'm not
have.
going down that lane.
Dude, you got a good saltiness in there with it too, with the sweet.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
I'm not a
Yeah.
big salty sweet guy.
Here's the problem with pretzels.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Yeah. Are you-
Seinfeld taught us all this,
Yes.
and that's 100% correct. They make you thirsty, but they're delicious.
Oh God, I can't believe this. I will throw my hat in
Okay.
with Arian Foster on one thing
Mhm.
and one thing only.
Mhm.
Warm pretzels are awesome.
They're
Well, yeah.
they're great. They're
They're,
great.
they're, like,
They're great.
a warm pretzel,
Yeah.
like it does
Yeah.
not matter when,
Little like
where, how,
little like beer cheese fondue.
brother.
Let's go.
It is. I've never had a warm pretzel and like, that was bad.
Yeah. No, they're great.
But now
They're
here's the
delicious.
thing with
You're
the
right.
with the gripe about the pretzels and they make you thirsty. Any good snack food worth its salt, you're gonna have a beverage with it to drink alongside.
Well, this is why bars have bar pretzels and bar nuts to keep you thirsty.
Yes.
And get you drinking more beer.
Right?
That's why
I could
they
use
are
a
there.
tasty beverage to wash this down.
Now, don't eat those at a bar because
No.
that's disgusting.
That's a bacteria trough right there.
That's right. That's right.
That's how you build up your immune system. All right.
That's how the COVID started.
No, that's what
wait.
kept you from getting COVID.
Arian Foster
Is a lunatic.
He is. He is. He is. I met Arian a few times when he was at the University of Tennessee.
How'd that go?
He's a really nice guy.
Sure.
He's a really nice dude.
Wait, was he there with Ainge?
Yeah, he was. He was Ainge's running back.
Good God.
He, I think, has a little bit of Kyrie in him.
A little bit?
You know how people say that Kyrie, like his teammates actually talk very highly of Kyrie.
Oh, you go around the NBA, guys like Kyrie.
Yeah, his teammates love Kyrie
Yeah.
Irving, and people love Arian. Arian Foster is a nice dude. Like he is really down to earth. I think that Arian is not afraid to say kind of what he thinks, and he plays along with a lot of things. Like, remember when it was like it was a joke on that podcast that the NFL is scripted and morons believed it.
Yeah.
He jokes a lot, right? But he also has opinions like this where at least he's being honest with us, and we get to hear what our former athletes are thinking.
I would imagine
this is a wrong take, Arian.
Yes. Also, I would imagine both, like Kyrie, I would imagine both are probably have experimented with a wide variety of drugs.
Yeah. That, I think, well, the name of his podcast is Macro Dosing. Not micro, macro. Right?
No, maybe experimenting was the wrong word. Has dove headfirst into piles of drugs.
That's right. That's 100% correct. But pretzels are delicious. I love all pretzels. I even like the little twisty pretzels, the little Snyder's pretzels that you used to get. You know, who didn't just eat the ends off and have like a weird,
little horseshoe
prong going on there, right? They're a tasty, delicious snack.
The company I used to work for made the fryers for a lot of baked goods and chips and things of that nature. Snyder's was actually one of the companies, so I've had like fresh off the line.
Ooh, how are those?
Oh, buddy,
that was good.
Let me tell you.
Let's go.
Let me tell you.
All right.
There's
a little quality assurance check.
Look, there's two tasty snacks that I will say fresh off the line are better than pretty much any. Juanita's tortilla chips, Snyder's pretzels.
I need to get to the Juanita's factory. It's in Hood River?
There's one in Hood River and there's one in Salem.
Okay. Can I get into
one of these things
Juanita's
is not like
factory?
the other?
Well, the original was in Hood River. I'm going to go a little inside baseball here.
Hold on. Can we just say, which town are you talking down to? Salem or Hood River?
Salem.
Okay.
I knew which way he was going with that. Yeah. I didn't even have to guess.
I think my history on that, my opinion of Salem was pretty clear.
Hey, didn't you float a car there?
Well, yeah.
No, it didn't float.
You went to Willamette.
I sank a car there.
You swam in the mill run.
Once. Just once.
Sober?
Willfully?
Come on now. I think that was Rush Week, maybe.
I don't believe.
But yeah,
that
I think you can get in
publicly,
maybe at the Hood River one. But yeah, they this is a little inside baseball or inside tortilla chips.
Okay.
They wanted to grow and they wanted to get they couldn't keep up with demand to get outside the Rockies for distribution, so they opened up the other facility and got some more fryers.
In Salem was the big move.
Yeah, well, they did like a co-brand thing. So there's another facility.
Is great.
Oh God, it's incredible, and
it is the best chip, best tortilla chip. And if you say otherwise, I'm sorry, you're just wrong.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a question. It is the best tortilla chip.
Yeah. Well, you see, people saying way too greasy. No, delicious.
What?
Delicious.
Are you kidding me?
There is definitely a grease factor there.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is like I got them fresh off the line, so they were still oily. Like what? This is the problem. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go full California here with these freaking Oregonians. All you want is your stupid dry Tostitos. No, they suck. They suck.
Yeah.
They're not even close. That's not a tortilla chip. A tortilla chip has to be greasy. It has to be oily.
All right.
Good God.
All right.
Tostitos sucks.
The one tortilla chip that was not greasy, that was delicious, though, was Chevy's Fresh Mix.
Chevy's off the line? Those were greasy.
No.
Yes, they were.
No, I did.
Fresh off, they were like there was a shine to them.
No, those are great.
Buddy, I used to go there and buy the pound of the pint to go. Trust me.
Yeah.
I was a Chevy's chips and salsa aficionado.
Yeah.
I will say though, underrated chip, just the plain Dorito, the plain corn chip.
Again, but it's not trying to accomplish.
I can't say I've ever had that.
Oh, you're talking about like the basic
the
old
Dorito,
yellow bag
no
of Dorito?
Spice, no spice.
That's your Oregonian coming out in you.
I'm just saying, underrated.
Okay, underrated is fine. We're not going into like it's better or good.
Oh no, no. That's not what I was saying.
Totally fine.
Yeah,
totally fine. But yeah, your tortilla chip should be oily, should be greasy. It should have a fat content to it.
I don't even know what brand. I think it might be Mission tortilla chips.
Comes
Are
in
those
the paper bag.
long rectangle ones?
Yes.
Not good.
I believe they have some rounds too, but yeah, like in the paper bag.
No.
Yeah.
Again, and why is that? Because they're dry.
All right.
And they're just like they have like that weird seasoning on it. It's like if a pretzel takes all the moisture from your mouth, that like sets you back 2 years.
Yeah.
I remember back when my wife used to work at a Mexican restaurant. She'd come home from work and just due to the amount of like tortilla fat and whatnot in the air back in those kitchens, I would smell her before she walked in the room coming home from work. Just there was about a 6-foot radius around her, just horrific tortilla fat.
That's
smell.
why you had 2 kids, huh? That right there, that got Russ going.
That was after the shower.
All right.
Okay. All right. On that, I can't pivot out of tortilla chips.
Love pretzels.
We're gonna go straight to greatness. USA Basketball has announced their team that they are going to take to France. Did they get it right? Coming up on here, Danny Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Not that far off from opening ceremonies coming to the 2024 Olympics in Paris, France.
Ooh.
God, the Olympics creeping up real quick.
Yeah, July. We already have controversies, though. We have the
uniforms,
track uniforms that they're saying one distance runner said my hoo-ha will be showing in that.
It's a pretty high cut.
Yeah, to which Nike said, well, that's just one of the many options that you have. You don't have to wear that one. It's a weird controversy to have. We've got, I know, gymnastics. Don't we have gymnastics team? Isn't that rounding out soon? Don't they have that?
Yeah, they'll have the final competitions here very soon.
Obviously, we have the track and field trials coming up.
It's June.
Is
it?
Yeah.
It's down in Austin, isn't it?
Because no, it's
or not
Hayward.
Hayward.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yep. So it's all we're all coming together. This is exciting. I love. Where's badminton trials? I want to know where the badminton trials are.
What's the badminton but with your feet?
That's not an Olympic sport.
That is the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. Like they're doing like backflip kicks.
Yeah, I don't believe that. Have you ever played against like a truly elite badminton player?
Can't say that I have, Bob.
Oh my God! You want to be humbled? Go and
watch a birdie go do weird things.
Yeah, me and my buddy thought that we were hot stuff in high school. You know, in team sports.
Oh yeah,
playing badminton. Our teacher, Mr. Baines, who was the dance team coach. That dude was like, "Oh, okay, we'll play." Laser beams,
1-on-2,
like just destroyed us. Absolutely crushed us.
I had that happen in racquetball. I grew up playing racquetball with my dad.
Golly.
I was like, I'm pretty good at this. And I transferred from one base to another, and my new supervisors were like, "What are you into?" And basketball, and I was like, "Oh, weird one, racquetball. Really love playing racquetball. I used to play all the time." He's like, "Oh, really?" Yeah, I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I'll take you on." I never got more humble in a sport. Than that.
That's right.
It's weird how you get good at those sports.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like you're just like, how the hell did you get this good at this sport?
Yeah, how are you this good?
You know, it's kind of weird.
I'm trying to find where the badminton trials are. I can't find.
And while you're looking that up, I've got the U.S. men's national basketball team.
Oh, a sport people care about.
There you go. It has been finalized, and boy, is it some dudes. Your guards: Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Drew Holiday. No surprises there. Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Halliburton, your first-time members.
Okay.
Pretty solid. Your forwards: LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, and the last add, Kawhi Leonard. I'm sorry. Yes, Kawhi Leonard is your other forward. Your centers: Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis, and Joel Embiid, who committed to play for Team USA a couple months ago.
Yeah, because was it
Cameroonian
last year he became a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
That team's loaded.
Yes, it is absolutely.
They're going to dream team this thing.
Juice to the gills. And why is it juice to the gills? Because, well, there's been some the FIBA team that we put forth. Jaren Jackson Jr. left off this. He was one that was much maligned for the FIBA performances. Did not go well for him. He said he wanted to be a part of it, which I thought was a little interesting because usually when you know you're not going to make it, you don't put it out there like, hey, I want to be a part of this.
And he didn't. Damian Lillard not on it, though.
Damian Lillard not on it. Kyrie Irving not on it.
Now, I understand Kyrie because that has international incident written all over it. I mean, we want to send Kyrie over to Paris with USA written across his chest. I mean, he's going to be trying to get people to the Earth is flat, the conspiracy theories that are going to come out of that. We could have an international incident. I get that one. Dame, you look at the season that he has had this year. I mean, it's not up to snuff for the Olympics. I think that like guys like Jalen Brunson, Jalen Brunson not being on this team.
Paul George is not on this team.
In the fact that a playoff P.
Here's your list of guys that were not on the team. So Paul George is also a part of that group. Jared Allen, Paolo Banchero, Desmond Bane, Scotty Barnes, Mikal Bridges, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Jimmy Butler, Alex Caruso, De'Aaron Fox, Aaron Gordon, James Harden, Josh Hart, Tyler Herro, Chet Holmgren, Brandon Ingram, Kyrie, Jaren Jackson, Cam Johnson, Walker Kessler, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, Bobby Portis, Austin Reeves and then Duncan Robinson, Derek White, and Trae Young.
But
those are the entirety of your Team USA select members.
Now, who do you take off of this team and put on? Because
I'm surprised
I think
Kawhi's on this team.
Kawhi Leonard
because of the
health concerns, but that could be a scratch. But we know when Kawhi is healthy, dude's one of the best players in the world.
Sure.
And he is a matchup problem for international style of basketball too, because I think that's one thing that we got to look at when you're talking about Team USA in the Olympics is the FIBA world rules. They're a little bit different than the NBA rules. And a guy like Kawhi Leonard assimilates to that style of play perfectly.
I'm kind of surprised Drew's on this team.
Drew Holiday?
Yeah. I'm not against it.
I am,
because you got to have guys who play roles,
and
that's part of this.
He's not going to be a guy who's going to shoot on volume. You have consistency and not a lot of variance in his offensive game, but he's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, which would make him one of the best perimeter defenders in the world. So, like, you really need it with the way the rest of this roster is kind of filled out, but that one is a little bit surprising. That one is. Brunson is one that I am a little bit surprised.
Yeah,
he's not
especially
on there.
being a New York guy. Like,
and he's got that dog in him. He, again, kind of in the vein of Drew Holiday. You know what you get from him and can expect from him, and he can fit in to anything stylistically.
I know it's one last hurrah for Steph, but I think Brunson's probably more deserving than Steph
for this year,
for this cycle.
For sure. Yeah.
But part of this is it's kind of like a lifetime achievement award.
Yeah.
Because you've got 39-year-old LeBron James on here.
Wait, who's coaching this team?
Steve Kerr.
Oh.
Yeah, they couldn't squeeze Clay or
Dang. Yeah, okay. That one makes more sense now, huh? Yeah.
So, but this team is loaded.
I can't wait.
I mean, it is absolutely loaded.
And when they take
on
Montenegro and beat them by 900 points, I'm just going to be going USA, USA the whole time. Like that's
and
how
we talked
it
about
is.
a couple weeks ago. They got a great draw in their bracket in their pool play. We'll see how things shake up here. Quick national team update. Delano Banton at Eggs Interviews mentioned that he does want to play for Team Canada, and I've heard that Canada has reached out to him, as well as Shaedon Sharpe is open to the idea of playing for Team Canada. There's some stuff to kind of peruse there.
Canada's going to be pretty decent.
They're not going to have any bigs, but they're going to have a ton of guards.
Well, Zach Edey.
They're not going to have any bigs. They're going to have a ton of guards. Kelly Olynyk is their best big.
Well, Zach Edey.
Yeah.
And this will be, that's actually going to be the first time that people who are like, how come Zach Edey can't play in the NBA? And then he'll have to guard Nikola Jokic, and he'll have to guard Joel Embiid, and he'll be like, oh.
Especially in the international game where it's a lot more open. But yeah, you also might see Vegas and Canada are going to play against, or USA and Canada are going to play against each other in Vegas a couple days before Summer League this year.
All right.
There's a chance maybe you see Scoot Henderson on that U.S. select team.
Hey, all right.
So
that'd be fun.
Yeah. There's your first Olympic basketball update. I'm actually, this is kind of cool. Getting ready to cover that this summer. Like the summer, obviously for the radio is kind of our down period. But with the Olympics, we're gonna have some stuff to talk about for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah,
I like that.
Hopefully, it's just the United States just crushing.
That would be fun.
Taking home medals.
All right, coming up next, Bill Belichick getting crushed left, right, and center. A little dive into why Belichick is currently not coaching. Coming up here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Number 3 here on a Wednesday afternoon. If you're watching on YouTube, you saw me check my phone to make sure what day it was. So thank you. And you can watch along on YouTube at youtube.com/1080thefan or twitch.tv/1080thefan. We appreciate you. We love you. Join in the conversation.
Don't forget the AM. 1080 AM, the fan.
1080 AM. Did I not say AM?
No.
Wow.
It's okay. We just want people going to the right fan, you know? People go to the wrong Danny and Dusty show page.
That's one of my favorite things. The fact that there's another Danny and Dusty.
Yeah, Danny Kanell and Dusty Dvorak, they have a show. And I was actually emailing with the guy back and forth who he is friends with Danny Kanell. And he was like, did you know there's another Danny and Dusty? I'm like, yeah, we know. We get tweets about it
pretty regularly.
And he's like, oh, crazy. He texts Danny and Kanell's like, what?
I mean, the chances of that happening are.
And we launched, I think, 3 months before they did. Yeah. And it was just boom, boom.
Entirely.
Right in a row. Coincidental.
It's a very, very weird thing.
But we get weird tweets from them all the time.
Usually angry. They're never happy.
Yeah, no.
It's always because they're very mad at
Twitter.
Usually, it's weird. They're usually very mad at Danny Kanell.
Odd.
It's the Dannys that are always people that are mad at. Although Dusty Dvorak being the voice of reason over there.
Yeah, that may tell you something. There.
Woo! Speaking of voices of reason. This is a bit of a weird one. There's now been an article according to ESPN, an article from ESPN, highlighting why Bill Belichick was not remotely considered for any head coaching jobs around the NFL, particularly as it pertains to the Atlanta Falcons. And I think you and I were talking about this as far as like when we started kind of whittling down how many jobs are out there for left for Vrabel, left for Belichick. And we heard the line about Vrabel being that from Diana Rossini was that
he's too big.
He's too big and he's imposing and intimidating in interviews, which if you're a tiny little man, I could imagine that's being a thing because Vrabel is huge. But yeah, I wasn't buying that. And this one, as it pertains to Belichick, I'm buying it, but I'm a bit shocked by it.
Yeah, and look, it's a lot of the same things that go with that Vrabel report from Rossini and what is going into Belichick is that both of those guys, literally, Mike Vrabel casts a large shadow.
Yes.
But in Bill Belichick casts a figurative large shadow. Mm-hmm. He's got 8 Super Bowl rings to his name, 6 as a head coach, 2 as a coordinator. He had a 20-year run of dominance in New England that we have not seen in
the
football.
NFL ever.
I mean, for 20 years, it's like the old Green Bay Packers, right? But what we're seeing and what we're hearing out of this article especially is that it wasn't necessarily the age, even though that did play a factor.
Sure, he's 71.
Some teams were run off from the fact that, in this report, he said that the Eagles were kicking the tires on Bill Belichick because of the fact that his pedigree, his history, his winning tradition. But what they ended up concluding on is that, one, Nick Sirianni's done a pretty damn good job in Philly. Mm-hmm. And 2, there is a worry that once he gets Don Shula's record and he's only 15 wins away from that, then he just steps away and he retires. And if that's in 2 years, what you know of Bill Belichick is he's going to want to do it his way. And he is going to want to reset the culture, reset the structure of the organization. And this article kind of outlines how the interview process with Arthur Blank and the Atlanta Falcons, it went to a point where Belichick was okay with ceding power and control to Rich McKay and Terry Fontenot, who are the president and the GM of the Falcons. And in an initial meeting with Arthur Blank on his mega yacht, they've made sure to highlight the mega yacht several times in there. You know, that's
it's
like
a fun thing to say.
It's like Arthur Blank's like, yeah, make sure you mention my mega yacht in there a few times, and I'll give you a couple quotes. But they met on the mega yacht, and Arthur Blank was really high on Bill Belichick. And in there they say that, you know, Blank had thought that he'd found his man in Bill Belichick. They had a second interview at his mansion, which they also made a very clear point several times to mention that Arthur Blank has a mansion in Atlanta, which I would expect nothing less from the Home Depot founder, but that they went to the mansion and met with Fontenot and McKay there. And those two guys, even though Belichick was saying, hey, I'm gonna fall in line with you guys. This isn't my way or the highway isn't necessarily the way to do things anymore. And they have several quotes in there from, Belichick confidants who said that, look, he even sat down with the sitting head coach and was like, my way, maybe it's not the right way to do it anymore. And so there was a willingness and an openness for Belichick to not let all the power go, but to let football decision makers and have a structure that we see front offices have
on
play
that
out.
Note, though, the willingness and the openness does not guarantee, I'm going to make something up here, ableness.
Yeah.
Just because he thinks he can and just because he's open to the idea of doing it, it's very, very different when it's actually taken away.
And that is what the worry and the concern is. And like with Vrabel and his being an imposing person, that scared people away. And there's fragile egos in the NFL. They didn't want to be in that situation. With Belichick, the figurative large shadow that he casts in the fact that he was the general manager for, a decade and a half in New England as well as the head coach, that got the decision makers in Atlanta to kind of sway Arthur Blank. But what is also in this article is one that we saw in the Dynasty, the Netflix doc. It's not copacetic between the Krafts and Bill Belichick. And though publicly, Robert Kraft has said he's supported Bill Belichick, he wants to find him a gig. In this article, it's in there that Robert Kraft talked to Arthur Blank because they're pretty good friends, and he said you can't trust Bill Belichick. He said he's not a trustworthy person. And if you, that is one thing that you sit there and you go, what is something that's going to get under Belichick's skin? A guy who grew up on the Naval Academy campus in Annapolis, where his dad was a longtime assistant coach. A guy that structure and being of your word are very important things. Dude, that's a big dig at Robert Kraft. And as this is kind of all playing out, you sit there and you wonder, and it's actually in this article, it was one of Belichick's confidants is like, well, for the Krafts, why would they want Belichick to get another job? Because if Tom Brady leaves and he has success, and then Bill Belichick leaves and he has success, then who is the problem in New England?
Uh-oh.
And then you're starting to go, is this a situation where it's the age of Bill Belichick? It is the power-hungry nature of Bill Belichick? Or is this also Robert Kraft saying, yeah, I'm just going to kind of, for lack of a better term, blackball him from the game?
Mm-hmm.
And the owners all kind of going in line, in which kind of leads everybody to believe that there's one last shot for Bill Belichick to be a head coach, and it's with the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones. If they cut ties with Mike McCarthy this year, Belichick and Jerry Jones are buddies apparently, which those conversations would be bizarre, and that would be a complete S show, but that might be his last crack to break Don Shula's all-time wins record and get another job as a head coach.
Just think of the power struggle there.
Think of Jerry going out and doing what Jerry does, right?
And Bill going, shut up.
Yeah, it would drive him crazy.
Now I want to see this.
Yeah. And look, I think that both of these things can be true. I don't think Bill Belichick has it within him to just fall in line, concede all power to everybody else and be like, yeah, no, I'm just going to be a football coach and coach ball. No.
You just said he went to where for school?
Well, he grew up at the Naval Academy.
Okay.
He didn't go there. He went to some private, small college.
Okay. For some reason, I thought he was an academy guy.
No, he just grew up literally on the campus.
I had Citadel in my head for some reason. But again, being around power and power structures, you know what happens when there's power available? Guys like that, they take it. They don't they don't willingly give it away. That's not how you get there.
Wesleyan.
Wesleyan.
There you go.
Yeah, Wesleyan College. I think he played lacrosse there.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Played lacrosse.
Yeah, he looks like a lax bro.
Yeah, but this is look, I don't think we see Bill Belichick as a head coach anymore in the NFL.
That'd be wild to just go out like that.
I don't think Jerry, even if they do fire Mike McCarthy, I don't think, because like if he doesn't kill Jerry Jones, he'll kill Dak Prescott.
Which
in the Dak Prescott's entering the final year of his deal, and they may be hard reset,
that
but
also
then
might
you're
be fun.
but then you're going rebuild. And you're trying to find another quarterback who's going to want to come and play for Bill Belichick in Dallas for Jerry Jones. You're looking for two completely different personalities of who's going to be the quarterback.
Tough. That's tough.
Of the Dallas Cowboys at that point. And this is a big year. This is a huge year for Dallas.
Oh,
this
for sure.
is a massive year. You're rolling the dice and you're saying, Dak, go prove it and we'll pay you. Mike McCarthy, prove it and you'll be the head coach moving forward. This is a monumental season for the Dallas Cowboys, who said they're all in and have done pretty much nothing.
It's all very dumb.
Yep.
All right, coming up next, the Packers and Eagles are going to play some football in Brazil. There might be a little problem with that. Danny Dusty, Danny the Fan. In case you think Philadelphia is totally unhinged, and it mostly is, it does get weirder. It does get more unhinged. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers are going to play in Brazil. That's in itself a pretty cool story. Also, why are we doing this? But the Eagles and the Packers could both be banned from wearing the color green because the stadium that they're playing in, which belongs to Corinthians, the Brazilian soccer team, has the color green banned due to an intense rivalry with Palmeiras.
See, we think we take our sports seriously. No. We do not. How many stadiums have colors just banned from them? Like, we have nightclubs that'll be like, you can't wear any colors, right? Because of the gang activity.
Sure.
But we don't have our teams banning other teams' colors.
No, we
from
don't.
Going into the stadium.
We don't have purple and gold banned from Moda. Although we probably should.
We should. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Well, also blue and gold too, because
just gold.
Warriors fans are
obnoxious.
That game where they were in Moda on Thursday, I don't blame Blazer fans for not going at the end of the year, but at the same time, it was like, damn.
Well, it's also
looks like a Warriors home game.
It's a much more affordable ticket than going to San Francisco and paying $6,000 for a ticket.
Ooh, that's a great question. Would it be more affordable to just fly up, come watch a game in Portland, crash on somebody's couch, than go to an actual Warriors game?
If you're talking about like a relatively good ticket, yes, 100%.
That's wild.
Yeah,
that is crazy to think about. But not having green gonna be really hard.
Yeah, because it's the Packers and Eagles,
and like this has gotten to the point where the Corinthians team fined one of their own players for wearing green on his cleats, on his boots.
And that's the thing is, this is not like primary color green. This, like, you invited the two greenest teams in the NFL.
Yeah,
to come play.
Probably should have looked into that a little bit.
Like, Jacksonville's the only other one that's maybe more green.
And the people in Brazil weren't like...
Jets too, yeah.
Yeah, have the Jets. So the Eagles may have to wear their black uniforms.
Okay, but it has green trim.
Yeah.
I mean, they find a guy for having green on his cleats.
Yeah, I think they're just going to let this pass for one day. But there's signage in the stadium, huge signs that say green is forbidden.
To just kind of go ahead and take this a step further. They find a guy for having green on his cleats, and you're like, they're just going to let this go. Did you see what happened in Saudi Arabia this last week?
Can't say I've been up on my Saudi Arabian news.
Soccer League. A fan had a whip. He whipped a player for poor performance. The player was leaving the field, had exchanged some words. The player went closer, and the fan pulled out Indiana Jones' whip and whipped a player.
That puts the Mariners fan with the trident waving it as Ty France hit a double the other night to shame.
That was just Brick.
There's just guy just out there waving his trident like, ah!
Brick killed the guy with the trident.
Golly. And those are confusing ones. Do you think they have a clear bag policy in Saudi Arabia at their games? Because if you can't go into a stadium here without a clear bag, but that guy can go with a whip or a trident at the Mariners games.
I can't say. I'm going to get in trouble for that one. They make you cover up everything else in Saudi Arabia, so I don't think the clear bag's really a problem.
All right. Fair enough.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
It's not yes, and it's not a country that I would want to live in.
No, definitely not. It's got a place where maybe you want to carry a trident.
Yeah, Brick killed a guy.
So
you may want to lay low for a while.
I don't know how the hell they're going to figure this out.
Find a safe house.
Somebody's wearing green, man.
Somebody's wearing green.
Like, even the Packers, even when they strip down to their white and yellows, there's green highlights all over that thing.
Yep.
The helmet.
Yep.
It ain't changing.
There's green everywhere. And it's Green Bay.
Yeah. Green's not allowed. The Bay Packers are playing the Philadelphia Eagles tonight. Like, they make you get rid of green in your name.
That's right. I think that's what we're going to see.
Mean Joe Packers with a tackle.
Yeah. And there we go. Mean Joe. Mean Joe.
Getting
Well, and who in the league office? How is it?
How did this get passed?
How do we get to this point?
Because people are dumb.
Yeah, because it was pretty quick after they were like, hey, by the way, the Eagles are going to play the Packers. They already had the post written. Well, here's the issue. Like, how far are we going with green? Could we send the Dolphins down? Is teal too close to green to send the Miami Dolphins?
I think we should start an international incident. We should like have both teams play in green.
Green. All right, I'm in. Let's go. They should just lean fully in, go with the Kelly Green alternates, and we'll call it a day.
Yes,
I'm in. I do
call their bluff.
The NFL's allowing. Do you see that they're allowing 3 different helmets now for teams?
I saw that the Browns leaked theirs.
Well, the Browns just reverted back to 1994,
which
they put the white. Like, honestly, they've gone through 3 uniform changes in like the last decade
just to get back to.
And they've gone back to 1994, where they have the traditional uniforms and a white face mask. And look,
no notes.
There's nothing you can do to make the Browns uniforms look good. So they're like, yeah, we tried. We're going back to the OGs.
Because the simplicity in it was fine.
And I've long said that all of the old uniforms were perfect, but uniform technology has gotten better.
And
so they all just look amazing.
Well,
like,
no, I mean...
No, all the throwbacks look amazing because the uniform technology...
It looks better.
It is caught up to the actual
Wait till
design
Fanatics gets a hold of those.
No, we cannot let Fanatics...
Oh, you better believe it's happening.
No. No. I think every other league is looking at Major League Baseball and going, that ain't happening. In NHL's host, because they're already in an agreement to start next year with their uniforms being produced by Fanatics.
No takebacks. Yeah, what happens when somebody cuts an artery because the jersey's too thin?
I don't know how that would happen. Like the skate just goes too quickly through.
Just whoosh. You're done.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, then somebody dies.
Worst case scenario. That's
somebody dies.
Oh, worst case scenario, the Miami Heat could win a game tonight. That would be terrible for everybody involved. Let's just be honest. But coming in next,
mostly for you.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, mostly for you.
We'll take a look at that game as well as the other one. The other ones too. The Eastern Conference play-in games getting underway tonight. We'll take a look at those going forward. But first, here's the Big Kahuna with a Sports Center update.
I hear they got some tasty burgers.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on The Fan, tonight it's the East turn for the NBA play-in games. First up, 4 o'clock on ESPN. The Heat at the 76ers. Philadelphia 5.5-point favorites. The winner gets the 7th seed and will face the Knicks in the first round. The loser faces the winner of the Hawks at the Bulls for the 8th seed and the right to face the Celtics. Chicago 3.5-point favorites. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 6, tip at 6:30, and can also be seen on ESPN. Pelicans announced forward Zion Williamson out for Friday's elimination game against the Kings with a left hamstring injury, and he'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks. The NBA announcing today Raptors forward Jonte Porter banned for life for violating the league's gambling policy. The statement says he provided confidential info to bettors, limited his participation in games for gambling purposes, and also bet on NBA games. Over on the diamond, the Mariners looking for a sweep of the Reds this afternoon at T-Mobile Park. We've got ourselves a pitcher's duel. It's the bottom of the 6th. The game tied at 1 apiece. Ellie De La Cruz with a solo shot for Cincinnati in the top half of the 2nd, and the big dumper answering in the bottom half of the 2nd. Cal Raleigh with a solo shot of his own. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
If you can't find the humor in today's NBA, you're doing it wrong. Heat Check with Trista Crick on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, the Western Conference play-in was a nice little success. We get to see the destruction of an empire as the Warriors are sent packing. And Zion showed us what his capabilities are before getting hurt again, unfortunately. And
he
now
showed
being out
me
for 2
we
weeks.
just can never trust him to be a star.
But boy, can he
Ever
be
again.
good. But you had some entertaining basketball. Tonight, I think you're going to get at least one game of that. As the early game features the Miami Heat taking on the Philadelphia 76ers for the right to have the 7 seed and take on the New York Knicks in the first round. The loser taking on the winner of Game 2 tonight, the Hawks and the Bulls. Who do you like in these games?
Philly.
Yeah. Who has Joel Embiid back.
And I could give two you-know-whats about the Hawks-Bulls game.
I care about it because of who will come out of that to take on the loser of the first game.
Because you just want the Heat to
want
lose.
the Heat to lose.
Yeah.
Because remember, the Miami, before making the NBA Finals last year, were a few minutes away from being knocked out of the playoffs by said Chicago Bulls. That was happening. They were down 10 in the fourth quarter.
And they came roaring back.
So
this
I would like to see it happen again, but this time with the Bulls winning.
And the Sixers, they can start putting a little bit real pressure because New York is a great story, but they are still banged up. No Julius Randle for the playoffs, and he's been out for a really long time. Their surge at the end of the year was really fun to watch, but we also saw, as you called them, the cowardly Cavs, literally not trying to be in that.
They packed it up so they could avoid.
And they wanted that 4 or 5 matchup. They thought that was going to be a better situation for them. Good luck with Boston in these conference
win,
semis.
and then they take on Boston. It's like,
yeah,
cool.
Right.
You wanted to say you won a series. Awesome. Have fun.
But Tibbs is going to have, and he had the inability to run his guys into the ground because they had so many different injuries over the course of the year that they're actually in a good spot. New York is, and Jalen Brunson's playing out of this world right now. But the Philadelphia 76ers, man, they are Joel Embiid. You think of people that said that, when Embiid wins the MVP, well, okay. That's just because they don't want to keep giving it to Jokic or whatever. Joel Embiid, the value he has to that 76ers organization, it's incredible. Like, he is such a game changer. And the way that they play when he is in the lineup, what are they, 31-8 with him in the lineup? Is that right?
That sounds about right, yeah.
I think they're 31-8 with him.
And if he would have stayed healthy all
nuts.
season and continued the rate he would have won MVP.
He
was on
out
that
of this
pace.
world.
Yeah, he was incredible.
And he ended up missing almost half the year. He came back, and everybody's like, all right, is there going to be rust there? No. I mean, he is playing at an insanely high clip, and he did it in short order. First game, he was back and being the player that we all thought he could be.
Yes. And then in this matchup tonight, Duncan Robinson has been ruled out. Terry Rozier has been ruled out for the Heat. And for the Philadelphia 76ers, DeAnthony Melton is out for the game. Robert Covington's already been ruled out for the rest of the year. KJ Martin out. Joel Embiid is good to go. So you're going to have two teams a little beat up, but you're going to have the Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris triumvirate on the floor, and it's going to have an opportunity to absolutely mop the floor with Miami.
I hope they do.
I do too. No secret. I don't like that fan base
Also,
at all. Look,
I think Nick Nurse in Philly,
the adjustments.
He is apparently a tough cookie to play for.
Yeah, he wears
But
on people, certainly.
At the same time, he's a hell of a basketball coach.
Tactically, it's him and Spo.
Yeah.
They're the top. They're at the top. I don't think you're going to find anybody arguing that.
I'm pulling for Philly.
I am
pulling for Philly.
I'm absolutely pulling for Philly. I love Joel Embiid. Like watching him play when he's going, man. There's when you watch Jokic, you're just enthralled by the skill.
In the how?
Yeah. With Joel Embiid, it's how is somebody that big doing all of this? Yeah. Like
cool.
I can't put into words just how big of a human Joel Embiid makes everyone look small.
Yeah.
Because it's not just that he's 7'1". He's probably 315, 320 pounds. He's enormous. He is a mountain of a human being. And you just watch him put the ball on the floor, spin, half spin, spin back, go over the top, pull up from mid-range, take threes, take guys off the bounce, pump and go, and you're just like, that's not supposed to happen.
It's pretty incredible.
It does not look like, when you see him in person, it does not look right. It looks cartoonish.
He is a little cartoonish.
Oh, he is. And it's truly incredible. And it's such a bummer that his body is just so broken.
Yeah, but at the same time, still able to hold it together for longer periods than Zion.
It's true. And also, this is because of the quote-unquote rest from having the knee surgery. He's probably healthiest, air quotes, he's ever been going into the playoffs because he's not run down.
Yeah.
And, I mean, last year, he has was it the back last year? Was it the back or was it the knee? I can't remember. But no, it was the knee. It was the left knee. He had the knee was bothering him.
Back has been a couple of years.
Yes. And then his feet are always a problem. But his knee was bothering him last year, and you could see he was a shell of himself. He was 50, 60% of himself. The Joel Embiid that is going into this game has been phenomenal for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so you look at this and you kind of look at how this is going to go. I'm definitely picking Philly beyond my bias, but I'm picking Philly because Philly healthy is scaring even Boston.
Yeah.
Like that's how good Joel Embiid can be.
And that would set up for a conference finals matchup against
Between
Boston.
Boston and Philly,
But the
matchup.
conference semis would also be good if Milwaukee can get past Indiana. And the Giannis injury is a big one. Milwaukee, Philly would be a hell of a matchup in the conference semifinals. And then if you get Boston in the conference finals, dude, the East is looking like at every step of the way, the matchups are
pretty damn good.
Better than the West. Better than the West. And that's saying something, especially after a decade plus of people wondering, does the NBA need to rethink how they seed the playoffs because there weren't 8 good teams in the Eastern Conference to make the playoffs, and the West had 10 to 12 teams that were better than any of the top 6 or 6 down to 8 in the Eastern Conference. Times have changed.
The West is still better, but the East is going to probably have better matchups in the first round for sure.
For championship caliber teams, yes, the West.
For sure.
Yeah.
But
top to bottom,
Hawks Bulls,
nothing. I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I have zero interest in that game.
We have been alerted that there's a report out there that DeMar DeRozan's daughter will not be present for the game.
Yeah, so no shrieking behind the
which did
bucket.
Possibly win them a game.
Hey!
I'm rooting for the Bulls here just because I don't want to see Trae Young's hair any more than I have to.
Or what's left of it.
Yeah.
I feel bad for that guy.
Just let it go, dude.
Just let it go,
Lean
man.
Lean in. That or get the nice plugs.
Yeah, get the plugs.
Go
and do
one way or the other. Quit wavering.
Yeah. Lean into it like Urlacher did.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
just
okay.
Be like, I did it.
Yeah.
It is okay.
It's okay. Just go like
It
LeBron
is
got the
okay.
cheap plugs.
That's fine.
KD, man. KD and LeBron, watching them the last couple nights.
It's tough.
The hairlines are, guys, just bick it down.
But LeBron
He's
cannot
reached
do
the
it.
stage of acceptance.
But no, he cannot go big.
I
He
know,
can't
because
do
of
it because of Jordan.
Yeah.
You can't be wearing number 23 and then have your head shaved. Can't do it. Can't do it. Everybody would be like, okay, LeBron.
No.
Yeah. So I feel for LeBron in that regard. He has to go rug.
Which is why he's 6. So.
Or go Carlos Boozer and spray paint it on.
I mean, he did.
Just do it.
He had the bad plugs, remember? The headband that took them out?
Yeah. I remember when it came off.
Yikes.
Poor dude.
Yikes.
LeBron just can't get any breaks, you know?
Yeah,
It's
no,
that LeBron guy.
It's never coming up
Just-
good for LeBron.
Yeah, it's just too tough for him.
Just the only player ever with
man.
40,000 points, 11,000 assists, and 11,000 rebounds.
Oh.
So, yeah. Quite the come up story.
Maybe someday something good will happen to that guy.
Right? Yeah, you know. I hope nothing good happens to the Miami Heat.
Samesies.
Yes.
Just want to put that out there. Coming up next, we'll get ready to hand you off to Isaac Suk here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. As with all things dumb, a union is going to hop in here and have something to say about Jontay Porter. The NBA Players Association has released a statement regarding Jontay Porter and says the NBPA will make sure Jontay has access to the resources he needs during this time in light of the NBA's decision. All players, including Jontay, should be afforded appropriate due process and opportunity to answer any charges brought against them. Shut up.
That one is...
Shut up.
Well, I mean, they're not wrong.
Enough. I mean,
You
just
should, but...
fall on the sword on this one and let it go.
But that is the least amount of support you can give a guy from a players' union. Yeah. It truly is. Like, that is as far... Because they do have the obligation to say, yeah, we have to provide him with resources because he paid dues to the union. And that is about it. That's all they're saying is like, give him due process, which, America...
Sure.
You deserve due process. They're not saying that what the NBA is doing is wrong. Yeah. They're just saying, we'll give him the resources that he paid his union dues for.
Well, and also with the whole due process thing, this is
the process has concluded.
Yes. Well, and it's also this is not a court of law.
Yeah. But also the process has concluded and it is found without a doubt.
Yes.
You did it.
But yeah, it's the players' union. It's their job to try to look out for the players. And
well, looking out for the
like
players
Dusty
here,
said they're doing basically the bare minimum.
The looking out for the players here is saying we absolutely abhor what Jontay Porter did, and it has no business being in our league or associated with our players. That to me is more beneficial to their players than saying, well, he's respected and due process. Yeah, no, cut the cancer out and go. This is akin to when you, on the teacher's side of things, when you have a criminal that everyone knows is guilty going, due process. And it's like, no, get rid of them. Push them out. That's the whole point.
Not of the union, though.
No, to take care of people. That's where unions lose me entirely.
But this is where they're not supporting him. They're just saying like, well, he paid his union dues, so they're obligated to. I mean, and they're not. There was zero support for him in anything that he did or his actions. It was he is going to get resources because he paid for them.
Yeah, no,
and we're going to give them to.
My point being that sitting on the sideline for it is not actively good.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't see what you want them to do is not their job though.
I would love to go back in time to the MLBPA.
Yeah.
And Pete Rose, I have a reeling suspicion that wasn't a great relationship when that happened.
I don't know how active they are, but at that time he was a manager too.
That's true. So he wouldn't fall in. Well, no, they fall under a different group, a different union.
But at the same time, like we all know, what the NBA, where NBA PA or NFL PA or MLB PA, where they lose me is when a guy does something horrific and they're like, we think he should still be playing. And it's like, no, wrong. Let's not go there. They're not even saying that. They're just like, yeah. I guess in this statement, if they just said he paid his dues, so we're obligated to give him the resources that he paid for, that's basically what they're saying.
Yeah, I would like